showtime. on Elm Street Part 3. Freddy's just around the corner.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hatch Boys. My name is P. Rich, and today I'm going to be reviewing and discussing A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3. Dream Warriors. Alright, so Dream Warriors is a 1987 American fantasy slasher film directed by Chuck Russell. The story was developed by Wes Craven and Bruce Wagner, and it is the third installment in the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, and stars Heather Lanencamp, and Patricia Arquette in her first film debut. And we get Larry Fishburne, known as Lawrence Fishburne. I don't know why he changed his name from Larry to Lawrence. Whatever. This is when he was known as Larry Fishburne. And Robert England as Freddy. Yeah, so... I always like this film. It's not my favorite. It's my third favorite in this film series for sure. I just rewatched it last night, so it's better than what I remembered it to be, for sure. So the tagline is pretty bad. Freddy's just around the corner. It's a bad fucking tagline, but anyways. So yeah, let's basically just kick off the plot here. So in 1987, 2 years after the events of the previous film, I'm guessing Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 is not canon in this. So this is basically like a direct sequel to Nightmare on Elm Street 1984, the first one. So, 2 years after the events of the previous film, a teenager Christian Parker dreams that Freddy Krueger is chasing her. He attacks her in her bathroom after she thinks she has already awakened, making it look like she has slit her wrist in the real world. That looks great. I really enjoy that. That part where you see Freddy come in the mirror, that was great, man. I love that. Just like, you see Freddy way more. He's not really in a whole lot of shadow in this film. I find like in the previous two films, he looked way better, way scarier. In this one, it's all right, but you do see him way more present, and he doesn't look as good either. But anyways, I really do like that scene, because when she goes to turn on the taps, and the taps are like hands, and they grab her hand, and then the other one's like Freddy's claw, and just slits her wrist. But the thing that got me, it's like, okay, so she's dreaming. Her mom comes in the bathroom because she hears Christian screaming. So why is she holding a fucking razor blade in her hand? You know what I mean? Did Freddy put that in her hand? To make it look like she was trying to commit suicide? I don't know. But anyways, that kind of got to me a little bit. But when she's first having a dream, that was good. You see the Freddy's nursery rhyme, they're skipping, and it was cool. You see the kids in front of Freddy's house, and it's all abandoned and stuff. And the little girl on the tricycle, that was a good touch. I like that. And then she goes inside, and she sees like that pig on that platter. Man, that was cool. That dead pig. And then it comes alive. It's a cheap jump scare and everything. Never got me, but it was still great. Like, that whole scene really builds up that tone of mood and atmosphere and eeriness. Like, I like that. Um, with the music in this one, I'm not a big fan of. Like, you do get some of the original score from Nightmare on Elm Street in the first one in this, which I don't mind. Like, yeah, because I do like that music. But anyways, um, yeah. So she's found that little girl, and and I do like that scene where she's going through and she sees all those dead bodies hanging. That was great. I really love that. And then yeah, and then when she's running with the little girl in her arms and Freddy's chasing after her, that was great too. And she starts slowing down because she's like in that mud or whatever. That was great. You see Freddy come around the corner and just the way he's like so close up and he goes to like fucking claw her and she runs off with the little girl. Um, yeah, so they uh they were gonna make that little girl look even, like, you know how she's just a charred skeleton when she's like, "Hey lady, put me down, you're hurting me," or whatever, "You're hurting me, put me down," or whatever, right? And she looks at the little girl and she's just a charred skeleton, and then Christian screams and wakes up. Well, she thinks she woke up. Like that scene. They were actually gonna make uh it look even scarier. Like
This is where it takes us.
Come on, we're going.
Freddy's home. Down, you're hurting me.
by Kevin Yeager, and Mark Schustrom are the special effects artists in this film. And Kevin Yeager, I do believe, took 10 weeks to make this one doll of this little girl that Patricia Arquette's supposed to be running with in her arms. And then, yeah, so anyways, it looked badass too. And the fucking film director, he shut it down because it looked too much like someone from the Holocaust, and he said too many Jewish people would be watching this film, so he shut it down. And when I looked at the pictures of like what Kevin Yeager had in mind, it didn't resemble anything like that. I don't think. Like, I didn't get that from it. So anyways, so now believing Christians to be suicidal, her mother admits her to a psychiatric hospital where she is placed under care for Dr. Neil Gordon at the hospital. Karen fights the orderlists who try to sedate her because she fears of falling asleep. The new intern therapist, Nancy Thompson, now we're introduced to Nancy Thompson. Now she's, a therapist, and calms her down and befriends her by reciting part of Freddy's nursery rhyme. Nancy's introduced to the rest of Dr. Gordon's patients. Philip, he's a sleepwalker. Kincaid, a tough kid from the streets. and Jennifer, hopeful television actress who is prone to cigarette burns. She keeps burning herself because she's trying to keep herself awake. And Will, who is in a wheelchair due to a prior suicide attempt. And Taryn, a recovering drug addict, and Joey, the youngest, who is traumatized to speak. One night, Freddy attacks Kristen in her dreams, but she unwillingly pulls Nancy into her dream, allowing them to escape. And this is awesome. This is when you see Snake Freddy. I mean, like, it's pretty badass. I don't mind it. I like the look of it. And it's like trying to swallow Christian. And it's a great scene. I love it. And then, yeah, once Nancy comes into Christian's dream, she takes a piece of broken mirror, like broken glass, and stabs him in the eye with it. And then he lets her go, like spits her out. And then he looks at Nancy and goes, "You." I fucking love it, man. It was a great scene. I really do enjoy that scene.
Oh my God.
So anyways, so now, yeah, it's a great practical effect, I think, of Snake Freddy. Look great. So Christian reveals that she has been able to pull people into her dreams since she was young. Over the next 2 nights, Freddy throws Philip off the roof and kills. Yeah, another great scene, man. And when he kills Philip, so like Joey is supposed to be watching Philip. They take turns of who's watching who. And anyway, so Philip is asleep. And I'm pretty sure that's, anyways, I could be wrong, but anyways, so yeah, Philip's sleeping, but and he makes like puppets and stuff, right? But anyways, so one of the puppets are hanging on the wall, and it turns into Freddy's face. It's kind of cool, like not the best special effects, but I mean, it looked alright. And then the puppet cuts his strings down off, and then it turns out the puppet turns into Freddy, and he's over his bed, and then he's like shh to Philip, and then he starts slashing his wrist, and then like his legs, like his ankles or whatever, and pulls all the veins up, and he's making Philip a puppet, and he's walking down the hall. It's like, because Philip is a sleepwalker, right? So, but nobody even notices Philip walk. Well, Ken K does. He's like, "Have a nice stroll, asshole." And anyways, but he doesn't think anything of it because he's a sleepwalker, anyways, right? But so, anyways, I love these special effects, man. For this practical effects in this scene is fucking awesome. The veins like coming out, it is kind of grotesque in a way, like. Not so much his wrist, like, yeah, maybe a little bit, but like when you see his feet and his legs, and those veins like coming out of his feet and his legs are just like, I was just always like, oh yeah, God damn. But, so anyways, Freddy makes him walk all the way up to a tower. And, that's when Joey, notices him and trying to wake up, everybody else. He goes to try to tell the nurse, but he doesn't talk, so he's like, But when they play this music score in this scene, I fucking love it. It's my favorite music score in this whole movie. I fucking just love it, man. It fucking really sets the tone, and it's intense. I love it. So Joey's running down the halls with the fucking tray, the lunch tray that he grabbed off the nurse's desk, and he starts hitting all the doors and waking everybody up, and they all go in the room where Joey is, and they're trying to wake up Philip, tell him, wake up. And then in Philip's dream, Freddy's like this big image of Freddy above the tower, and he cuts his veins, like the strings of the puppet, and he falls down to his death and dies. So next we get Jennifer. When she falls asleep, she's watching television, and she wants to be like an actress in television or whatever. But so anyways, she ends up falling asleep, and I love this scene too. It's funny. This was like when Freddy is starting to become like funny Freddy in a way. Like I find in this movie, like he's got his one-liners. In the previous two movies he never did. Like he was serious and sinister and dark in those two, but in this one he's starting to get his one-liners where they're funny and whatnot. But anyways, so she's watching the TV, but she's nodding off, falling asleep, and there's like an interview she's watching, like a night show or whatever, and this girl's like explaining to the host like whatever, and then he's like, and then it turns into Freddy's like, who gives a fuck what you think? And then like goes like that and kills the girl with his glove, and then the TV like goes all static, and it cuts to like static, and you hear like these kids in the background singing the nursery rhyme, and then you hear like screaming. It sounds like Christian screaming, but anyways. Then she like goes right up to the TV, and the fucking arms come right out of the TV and pick her up, and then Freddy's head comes out of the top of the TV with antennas on his head, and he's just like, Jennifer, this is your big break. Welcome to prime time, bitch, and smashes her head right into the fucking TV. And then what's his name? Lawrence Fishburne. His character comes into the fucking room and sees her head just like, she's just like because the TV's like a little off the wall, but whatever. But she's just hanging, her head's in the fucking TV, but she's just hanging there. And then they're like, how the fuck did she do that? Because there was no chair. She wasn't even that tall enough to do that. So it's like, how did she hoist herself up to fucking do that to begin with? And they're all like, they played it off, she committed suicide. It's like, no, she didn't. But anyways.
Who gives a fuck what you think? Jennifer, your big break in TV. Welcome to prime time, bitch.
So yeah. In the next group session, Nancy reveals to remaining patients that they are the last of the Elm Street kids, the surviving children of those who banded together and burned Krueger to death many years ago, like their parents. And both Nancy and Neil engaged them to try group hypnosis so that they can experience a shared dream and discover the dream powers. In the dream, Joey wanders off because he sees that hot nurse. And yeah, it's just like Freddy manipulating Joey to go. And anyways, so this nurse lures Joey in, and she takes her clothes off. She's like, gets on top of him and starts making out with him. And then it's like his tongue. It's really Freddy. And he's like fighting back and forth with her tongue, saying, and the girl like starts shooting tongues at him and then ties him up to the bed. And then finally Freddy like reveals himself, and he gets off on top of Joey. He gets off and he's like, "What's wrong, Joey? You feel a little tongue tied?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's alright. It's alright. Not bad." But anyways, and then you see the special effects. It looks like hell, or like from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom in the fire pit, like below Joey, like the mattress is like gone, and it just looks like a fire pit of hell coming up, but Joey's tied to the bed. It was kind of weak for me, but anyways, so now Joey's like in a coma state now. And then we find out like the rest of their powers. Oh my god, like, yeah, Kincaid, like, he's strong in his dreams. He can bend shit. He's tough. Christian can basically like do kung fu and backflips and shit. And then Tyra, that's her name. Tyra. So, and then, oh, this is so fucking cheesy. This is what gets me the most in this. And she's like this punk chick because it's like 1987, whatever. Yeah, cool. But then she has like two blades and she's like, "I'm bad." I'm just like, oh, fuck. Anyways. Yeah, and the Wizard Master shit, I was like, oh, come on, man. Come on. It's so fucking cheesy. But anyways, that didn't completely take me out of the movie. Nancy and Neil are revealed of duty, and a nun named Sister Mary Ellen tells Neil that Freddy is the son of a young woman on the hospital staff who was accidentally locked in a room with 100 maniacs of mental patients who raped her consistently, and she ended up getting pregnant by 101 maniacs. So she explains that the only way to stop him is to lay his bones to rest. He and Nancy ask Nancy's father, Don Thompson, where the bones are hidden, but he is uncooperative. Nancy rushes back to the hospital when she learns that Christian has been sedated. Neil stays behind to convince Don to help them. Nancy and the others again engaged in group hypnosis to reunite with Christian, but they are all separate by Freddy. Taryn, and Will are killed by Freddy, while Christian, Nancy, and Kincaid find another one. Find one another. The trio rescue Joey, but are unable to defeat Freddy because he has become too powerful due to the souls he observed. And it's a cool scene. I like that. I do like the look of like all the when he lifts up his shirt and you see all like those kids, his faces and his stomach. That was cool. I really enjoy that. Yeah, the whole Wizard Master thing, going back to that kid, the Wizard Master with his dream. He's like, when he dies, Freddy's like, sorry kid, oh believe it, fairy tales, and fucking kills him. I was like, yeah. You know, it's funny because he's in a wheelchair, and then in the dream, Freddy's got like this rigged up fucking wheelchair that comes after him. It was kind of funny.
Well, you look tired. Have a seat.
No thanks. I'm fine just the way I am.
For now, maybe. But when you wake up, it's back in the saddle again.
In the name of Lorik, Prince of Elves, demon be gone!
Sorry, kid. I don't believe in fairy tales.
Or whatever, she's like in the alleyway and like where like junkies go, whatever, and then she looks at her arms and there's like eyeballs where her like track marks were, and Freddy like grabs her and he's got like hands out of needles, and he's like, hey, let's get high, and he like sticks them in her arms and like pumps her full of fucking whatever poison or whatever, kills her, and then he's like, oh, what a rush. I mean, like, yeah, it was alright.
Why should we fight? We're all friends, you and I. Remember? Let's get high.
Neil and Dawn are taking Freddy's bones, and Neil grabbed holy water and a crucifix from a church, and so they got Freddy's bones now, and they're going to bury them in hologram, and Freddy's bones come to life and attack Dawn, killing Dawn, and trying to kill Neil. And I mean, it looks so fucking bad, man. Like, yeah, it always reminds me of like Army of Darkness with those skeletons coming alive and stuff. But that looked a little better. But this, no, it's worse. But anyways, so now, so anyways, back in the dream. Nancy and Christian are fighting Freddy. Anyways, Nancy ends up getting stabbed in the stomach with Freddy's glove, and then this is when Neil like puts the bones in the ground and throws holy water on it, and then you see Freddy, and there's like beams coming out of him, and then like a crucifix in his head. He starts spinning it around, and then he just like fucking disappears, evaporates, or whatever. Anyways, so, but before that, before Nancy ended up dying, she sees her dad, Don, come to her, but it's really Freddy. Like it was like Don's ghost, his spirit, saying goodbye to Nancy, and then anyways, yeah, it turned out to be Freddy, and then killed her, stabbed her, whatever. I kind of mentioned briefly about. So yeah, Nancy's dead, and Freddy's dead now. During Nancy's funeral, Neil finds Amanda Kruger's tombstone and discovers that she is Sister Mary Helena, that is Freddy's mother. That evening, he goes to sleep with Nancy's doll, or whatever. Earlier in the film, they're over at Nancy's house, and this doll like keeps away like bad dreams and stuff. Anyways, he has it next to Christian's paper mache house, and he's like, I don't know, Neil is just fucking like all tucked in, really nice, and he's just num 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 num. Anyways, it's just funny. And then you see the paper mache house, and then you just see Kristen's house lights up in the inside, suggesting that Freddy's not completely defeated. So yeah, I mean, not the worst ending and not the best one, but I kind of like that. I mean, they could have just ended it with 3 and not made it any more. But anyways, yeah, the cast. I mean, Heather Lanencamp back again as Nancy Thomas. I mean, I love her, man. She's my favorite final girl. Fuck yeah, she's my favorite character. Besides Christian, like Patricia Arquette did awesome. I really like her character as Christian. I thought she was great too. Dr. Neil Gordon has played Greg Wasson. I don't like him. I mean, he's not the worst, but I don't like him. Robert England as Freddy again. I mean, he's fucking Freddy, man. I love Freddy. But yeah, this is when he starts getting his little fucking one-liners in again. Like he didn't get in the previous films, but now he's starting to get them. But it was still good. Like, yeah, man, Freddy was awesome in this film, I thought. I still liked him better than the other two, but it was still good. Then we get Roland Kincaid by Ken Sagos. He was alright. I don't mind Kincaid. Yeah, he's alright. Joey, yeah, he's just whatever. And the rest of them are just like whatever. I don't really give a shit. Like Max, like Larry Fishburne, Lawrence Fishburne. He was good. I didn't mind him. He was kind of like chill and whatever. He kind of like was taking it easy on the kids and stuff. Like, he wasn't a dick like that other doctor. Fuck, what was her name? Dr. Elizabeth Sims. Yeah, I would have to say Dr. Sims is my worst character in this film. She's a fucking bitch. Anyways, yeah, she's my worst character. And then I'd say Neil, that Neil guy, yeah. Yeah, so the technical elements in this film, I mean, yeah, the cinematography is great by Roy H. Wagner. It was great. I like it. Certain scenes, I really like the lighting in it. You get good lighting. There's a couple scenes you see Freddy. He's kind of in shadow a little bit, but not a whole lot. And I mentioned before, like the the makeup effects are good. Like Freddy does look good, not as good as the second Freddy or the first one, but still not bad. I like Freddy's stomach with all that practical effect of his stomach with all those faces in his stomach of all the kids, like the souls or whatever. That looked great. Yeah, some of the kills were great and inventive. I like it. Like I said, the music wasn't a big thing for me in this one. Like that one I mentioned earlier on about like when where Philip's dying, like where he's gonna die. That was great. I love that score. You get some of the first music score from the first film. It's all right. Yeah, like yeah, some of my favorites. And then at the end of this film, you get that iconic fucking Dream Warrior song by Dokken, and it's a great song. I always liked it. Yeah, so I mean the editing's fine. Yeah, some of the effects are a little outdated and looks kind of a little bad in some parts, but you gotta remember it was 1987 too, right? They didn't really have a whole lot of technology. I mean, but some of the practical, I do like a lot of these practical effects in this film for sure. And I mentioned before about how they made that doll at the first of the film, and they didn't even use it. And the special effects artist Kevin Yeager was so pissed off that they didn't even use that. So like and he spent 10 weeks on that shit. That would piss me off too. So yeah. So like Wes Craven has said about the direction that he and Bruce Wagner wanted to take the franchise in, that he decided that it could no longer be one person fighting Freddy. It had to be a group because of the souls Freddy's victims have made Freddy stronger. He also called Heather Lanencamp to ask her if he may include her character Nancy in the script, which she agreed to. In interviews with cast and crew and DVD extras, it was revealed that the original idea of the film centered around kids separately traveling to specific locations to die by suicide. Later, it would be discovered that the common link between the youths was that they dreamed of Freddy Krueger. Since suicide was a taboo social issue, the storyline was abandoned. Some aspects of the idea remained in the film. Yeah, there are some suicide things in the film for sure. But yeah, that's kind of shady that they couldn't do that. In Craven and Wagner's original script, the characters were somewhat different from what they eventually filmed. Nancy was not a dream expert, nor any kind of mental health professional. Christian, named Christian in the script, only stayed in the institution for a short while. She had a father and her mother was named Alice. Neil's last name was Guinness and his character was much younger. Dr. Sims' last name was Mundelia. Taryn was African American. Joey was the one who built the model of the house and had trouble getting around, although he did not use a wheelchair. And Philip was a 13-year-old ranch house where Krueger was born, and that is the house that shows up in the kids' dreams rather than the Elm Street house. Wes Craven specifies the house in the original script to be a portrayal to Freddy's dreamscape. It is virtually a limitless world of human physique in all of its dimensions. So you can enter the other world through the house of dreams or madness or hallucinations and special psychic states that various people have. Contrary to the film, Donald Thompson knew from the start that Krueger was real and is still alive. Krueger was missing and Nancy wanted to find him. When she finds him, Nancy learns that Krueger is obsessed with finding the house where he was born. He could burn it down. Or so they could burn it down. In the original script, there is romance between Nancy and Neil. They have sex. There are scenes and lines in that resentment of the first film. There is no mention of Krueger's mother had been a nun or that Freddy was born of rape. Both Joey and Kincaid are killed. The deaths in the script were more gruesome. Krueger was not as talkative and was more vulgar. Freddy is killed by Nancy by using his own glove, not by holy water, and she sees through his shape-shifting trick even though she still dies. I mean, man, there's a lot of things in that original script I would have loved to see, and I wish they did. And there's some things I'm just like, nah, I don't know. I'm kind of glad they didn't go that route. But overall, man, like Wes Craven's original idea for this third film, I would have loved to see, man. I think so, man. Like, it's a great movie. I do like this movie and everything, but yeah, there's some things that I wish I kind of rather see in that. Anyway, so yeah, back to like, what was that? Shit, I'm forgetting something. I know I'm forgetting something I wanted to discuss. Yeah, shit. I forget what I was gonna say. Some of the like best parts in this film I was thinking of. Oh yeah, the part where Christian's having that dream again, where she's back in her room and she's doing her paper mache, and she's like in her bedroom, and her mom comes up and turns down her radio. You're gonna wake up the whole fucking neighborhood or whatever, right? And then yeah, her mother, yeah, that's another character. Christian's mother, I'd say her and that doctor are the worst by far. She'd rather get fucking laid than actually spend time with her daughter. Just like the way she goes on, and then she's like, "I'll go to bed literally." Like, I'm like, fuck, I wish this bitch would die, man. She's just so annoying. And anyways, in that part, in that scene in her dream where he's like, "I said, where the fuck is the bourbon?" And it's like Freddy, and it fucking cuts her head off, and then like he like has her head in her and her mother's still going off. It's like, God damn it, Christian, I told you to whatever. Like, you know what I mean? That was quite the fucking scene. I always liked that. It was hilarious. So
Pick up a whole neighborhood. What are you still doing up? It's past 1.
I just don't want to be alone.
I said, where's the fucking bourbon? You should listen to your mother.
Oh, damn it, Kristen, you ruin everything. Every time I bring a man home, you spoil it. You know what your shrink says? You're just trying to get a little attention.
that was quite the fucking scene. I always liked that. It was hilarious. So, Ken Sagos stated in an interview he really didn't want to audition for the role, Kincaid, but his agent talked him into going. One day of the audition, he walked in heavy rain and catched a bus to the location, running late. When it was his turn, director Chuck Russell told him, "Do whatever you want to do." Sakos was so frustrated and mad about the whole ordeal that he yelled "fuck you" and then proceeded to scream and curse at Russell, and Russell immediately hired him. That's fucking hilarious. And Robert England admits that he knew Patricia Arquette would go on to be a big star one day. He also explains how all of the guys on the set were head over heels in love with her. Between takes, some of them would even go to England to get his advice on whether or not they thought they had a chance with her and asked her out. Wow. Wow, man. Like, yeah, she's not a big star yet, but that's still kind of fucking weird to me, man. I don't know, man. You could always ask her out on a date and stuff. That's cool, but that's kind of funny shit. Yeah, I mean, she's a very good looking woman, even back then. Like, I mean, back then, like she still is, but I mean, like, she was really hot, I think, back then, yeah. So, back to Wes Craven's original idea there. Basically his original idea is like Freddy invading the real world and haunting the actors and the crew responsible for Nightmare on Elm Street films, which inspired by Return to Horror High 1987, which was another meta horror movie at the time. However, his idea was ejected by the studio. And then later on, he does make that whole movie in A New Nightmare, right? Yeah, so, yeah, man, do I recommend this movie? Yeah, I do. I really do, yeah. It's not my favorite, but I really do like it for what it is. I do. I always have a great time with it, man. It's fucking hilarious. And there are some good horror elements and scenes in this. I mean, there are some eerie scenes in this film. There is. And the kills are good. The practical effects, they're pretty decent. I like them. And, I recommend Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors for sure. The box office. So, the box office was $4.3 to $4.6 million, and the box office made $44.8 million. Like, wow, man. It did fucking good. Like, not like amazing, but it did do good. It did way better than the second one, and not as good as the first one either, but still pretty damn good. So do I rate this? Well, what do I rate this film? I give this one a 7.5 out of 10. Yeah, I do. I still like the second one better. That's just me though. But I do enjoy this one for what it is, and yeah, I do, yeah. And I give it a 7, yeah. A 7.5 out of 10. Alright, so that's my review for Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors. Alright, thanks for tuning in. See you next time. Bye, everybody.